Hi everyone, Wismeril here. Today I want to talk about one of the affixes, weapon affixes, that's in the game. It has not been used at all since the release of the game, yet I think it's going to be very strong in the Abattoir of Zir. We're talking about the chance on a lucky hit to execute injured non-elites. So the way the Abattoir of Zir are going to scale for the most part is with the HP pool of the monsters. Let's say, I'm just throwing random numbers here because we don't have the data yet, but let's say on a tier 1 Abattoir, enemies, trash mobs have 1 million hit points. Now let's say that on a tier 25 of the Abattoir of Zir, enemies have 900 billion hit points. That's a huge difference, right? And that's how the scaling is going to go. It's not going to be those exact numbers, but it's going to be enormous HP pool. Now, what is an injured enemy? An injured enemy is an enemy, a non-elite, non-boss, non-player that has less than 35% hit points, right? So 35% of 900 billion is a lot of damage. So having the ability to just execute enemies and ignore the remaining 35% of those 900 billion is huge. So this affix over there, this stat that's in the game, is in my opinion very, very strong for the Abattoir of Zir, especially when it comes to pushing. When it comes to speed farming, which is like leveling your Tears of Blood glyph, I still believe it's nice, but it's not as good as when it comes to pushing. So there are a few different ways you can have this affix, and they are additive to each other. You see in the build that I'm going to be running on day 1 of the Abattoir of Zir, Tuesday evening, French time, I'm going to run this exact setup that, by the way, I'm going to share with you guys and explain a few different things in the upcoming videos. But for now, let's stick to the lucky hit execute. You see that by getting it from different sources, I can have access to a 50% chance on a lucky hit against an enemy that's injured to simply execute him and get him out of the way. So how do you get those stats? Well, the only two means that I'll be using are on the weapon. You can only get one of those affix on the weapon and not on the offhand. And you can have access to this affix also as a rare and magic notes on the Burning Instincts Paragon board. Those are additive, so you see this one is 10 plus 10, there's a 10 bonus, so that's 20, plus 5, 5, 5 on the magic note, so that's 15, that's 35, plus 15, I already have my weapon, which has a 15% rolled on it, and of course it's a 925, so plus 15, that's 50. This is huge. The lucky hit chance of ball lightning is not very high, but the frequency at the frequency at which it attacks is very big. Like, it hits up to 10 times per second. So you're very likely to proc that and simply ignore the remaining 35% of HP pool of the monsters. And if this stat performs, like I think it will, I even think to remove resilience in this tanky approach that I have for the Abattoir of Zir, and to replace it with the domination vampiric power, which more or less does the same. It's just that it doesn't rely on a lucky hit. It relies on the target being crowd controlled. In the case of my ball lightning build, it would be stunned. So it's the same, and this vampiric power also brings in a multiplier, which is very nice. 24% against stun, crowd control enemies. But anyway, what this does is, if a non-elite, non-boss, non-player is injured, it has less than 35% hit points. The moment you crowd control it, like with a stun, it's going to be execute. There's no lucky hit chance in the process. Simply, it's going to be executed. So if it performs well, I think this can go along the lucky hit chance, or maybe replace it. I'm not sure yet. I will give you feedback on the channel. But this is super big. Like, I think 35% of 500 billion is 175 billion, if I'm not mistaken. Imagine, you are going to ignore 175 billion hit points of every single trash mob, assuming that they have 500 billion max HP to start with. This is a huge affix. It's underrated, don't sleep on it. I'm not going to. So anyway, I have a lot of videos coming before Tuesday evening about the Abattoir of Zir. I have several builds, some of them including the Uber Unix, mostly the Sheiko and the two-handed staff unique. And also builds that will not include that. So I'm going to release that over the next days. There will be a lot of them. For now, don't sleep on this execute stat. I think it's gonna be huge. This is Wismeril signing off. I hope you guys are very excited to play the Abattoir of Zir. I was an enjoyer of Diablo 3 Greater Rift systems, so I will be. I'll see you guys in the next video.